Welcome back to the Deep in Sports Thought podcast. I'm Chase Caridi, and today I'm going to give you my predictions for Week 5 of the NFL season. So starting off this week, we are back in London for again another Jacksonville Jaguars game, with the Jaguars playing the Buffalo Bills. Now, this one is without a Toy Story virtual version, so we don't even need to mention what happened last week. We could just move on. The Jacksonville Jaguars were able to bounce back from their loss against the Houston Texans and defeated the Atlanta Falcons in London. But I just don't think that London win streak is going to keep up because the Buffalo Bills had an absolutely dominant win over the Miami Dolphins last week, defeating a team that had just beaten the Broncos by 50. Now, they did lose Tre'Davious White for the season, which is killer. But on the flip side, Von Miller is expected to play this game, and even if he doesn't, I know this Buffalo Bills defense, on top of their top-notch offense, can definitely handle the Jacksonville Jaguars. Give me the Bills in this one, 35-20. Alright, so our next matchup here, we have the Atlanta Falcons hosting the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans on a bit of a win streak here, defeating their division rival Jacksonville Jaguars and then the Pittsburgh Steelers just last week, with the Falcons losing to the same Jaguars just last week and coming all the way back from London. I've got the Houston Texans winning this one, like people should. And I'll have them winning at about 21-14. The next matchup here, we have the 0-4 Carolina Panthers going to Detroit to play the 3-1 Lions. The Carolina Panthers have not looked good with Bryce Young, without Bryce Young. There's just been growing pains on top of this team not being all around that good with the talent they have at their disposal. They even have laughably requested a number one wide receiver from any team after trading DJ Moore for the picks to get Bryce Young. How he'll end up being as a quarterback and how that trade will end up looking, I don't know. But for now, I know that the Carolina Panthers are definitely not the team to pick here. I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions on this one at a score of 27-17. I think I've guessed that every week, and I'm not sure if it's happened yet. Moving on, here we have the Tennessee Titans going to Indianapolis to play the Colts. A divisional matchup, both 500 teams at 2-2, and the percent difference between who people think are going to win is incredibly close, 51-49, leaning towards the Colts, and I think I'm going to have to agree with the majority of people here. I mean, what I've seen from Anthony Richardson and that offense, and the biggest piece, the returning Jonathan Taylor after he got a new contract from the Colts, 3 years for $42 million. That is just going to push them over the edge on what was already a surprisingly good team being led by their rookie quarterback. I've got the Colts winning this one over the Titans, 28-20. All right, our next matchup here, we have the New York Giants going to play the Dolphins. And not really much you could say about this matchup. The New York Giants, very embarrassing loss against the Seattle Seahawks on primetime last Monday night. And now the Miami Dolphins, coming off of their first loss of the season, in a loss they are very much going to be upset about. Nevertheless, the Dolphins, I believe, are going to definitely bounce back from this one. And there's not a better matchup to bounce back against than the New York Giants. The Miami Dolphins, I believe, will have their way with Big Blue. I'm going to go with Miami here, 31-18. 31-18. Next matchup, we have the New Orleans Saints playing the New England Patriots. This really just comes down to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeated the Saints last week, and I think that really has shifted the momentum of that division. Between the Bucs and the Saints, I think I'm going to lean Tampa for the rest of the season. That could obviously change this week, but for now, I think I'm going to definitely have less faith in the Saints to keep it moving, and that's why I got the New England Patriots winning this one. And on top of that, I think the Patriots are due for picking up some kind of steam. Their only win on the season being against the New York Jets after this past week of getting absolutely demolished by the Dallas Cowboys. They need to bounce back, and I think the New Orleans Saints aren't exactly an opponent that they can be steamrolled by. I think they will definitely either win this matchup or stay in it for most of the way, but I've got them winning this one, 23-17. All right, our next matchup here, we've got the Baltimore Ravens against the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is another divisional matchup, and with the way the Cincinnati Bengals have turned out, I think these might be the top two teams in the division, but it's definitely not going to be that close. This rivalry specifically, but also just divisional rivalries and old-time matchups that have had many classics throughout the years, always seem to be the closest of games, but I just don't think it's going to be this time. I think the away team takes it. I got Baltimore winning this one 30 to 16? 30 to 16. Yeah, 30-16. The Philadelphia Eagles going to play the Los Angeles Rams. The undefeated Philadelphia Eagles have had some really iffy matchups, if I'll be honest. Throughout their first 4 games, I mean, I just really haven't seen a lot where it's like that's an incredibly dominant team. Sure, that they've still been Pro Bowl players, but I just feel like their performances haven't been 100% just like they were rolling into their Super Bowl run last year. Call me crazy. I think that's why I'm going to go with the massive underdog here in the Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams have proven me wrong. Earlier, before the season, I thought that this would be one of the teams contending for a top 5, top 10 pick, and that's wrong. They are getting Cooper Kupp back, who was an absolute crucial piece to the way that this offense has operated in their best years these past couple of years. And on top of that, having Puka Nacua having his incredible season, Matt Stafford having some turnover troubles, but still being a caliber quarterback. Just every facet of this team has exceeded the expectations at least I had for them. So that's why I'm going to take the Los Angeles Rams on this one, and it's going to be at a score of 30 to 27. All right, for our next game, we have the team that continues to fail me in fantasy versus the Arizona Cardinals. Boy, does a massive part of me really want to go with Arizona on this one. I mean, last week I was right about the Tennessee Titans defeating this Bengals team that has just failed time and time again. I just really am struggling to see a way that they could turn this all around. I do not know what to go. I'm really torn. Wow. God, the Arizona Cardinals have looked good in a lot of their games, if not all of them. They haven't been completely rolled over by anyone. I think I'm going with Arizona on this one. I just can't bring myself to choose the Cincinnati Bengals. Prove me wrong, Cincy. Especially for my fantasy team. Please, God, prove me wrong. I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals on this one at a score of 24 to 16. Here's a game that maybe 5% of football fans are excited for. The New York Jets going to Mile High to play the Broncos. The Denver Broncos, again, lose. Can't get anything going no matter who the head coach is. Sean Payton, Nathaniel Hackett, and speaking of Nathaniel Hackett, the New York Jets actually looked offensively pretty strong against the Kansas City Chiefs of all teams last Sunday night. Of course, not many fans were able to understand that because of how many times Taylor Swift was on the screen, but nevertheless, the New York Jets looked strong offensively, and their defense was able to hold the Kansas City Chiefs for a lot of the game up until, of course, flags and the NFL wanting the Chiefs to win, but that's neither here nor there. I think I'm going to go with the Gang Green on this one. That might not be saying much at all because, again, it's Denver, but listen, Zach Wilson put up a good performance last week against a really good defense. Let's see how he does against a bad defense. If he can continue to strive and not be wishy-washy, fluctuate between how he plays against certain teams, then we'll know. And that's the faith I'm going to put in this week. I'm going to go with the New York Jets at a score of 28 to 17. 28 to 17. That's gonna be a big one. Our last matchup for the late afternoon games is the Kansas City Chiefs going to play the Minnesota Vikings. And listen, after the performance by the referees last week in the Chiefs-Jets game, I don't think there is a chance that the Minnesota Vikings are going to be able to take away this one. On top of that, last week also the Chiefs were able to move the ball well, even when they had to run, when Mahomes wasn't being the best in the world like he usually is, and even with Kelsey not playing because he's too distracted by, dating one of the most, if not the most popular woman in the world right now. Incredible anti-Chiefs bias aside, I still believe the Chiefs are going to be able to defeat a team like the Vikings as they just continue to flounder and not find rhythm. Kansas City will win this one. Dear God, it won't be the Bears game. Won't be the Jets game either. Somewhere in the middle. Let's go 34 to 20. 34 to 20. The matchup will be waiting all day for Sunday Night Football. The 3-1 Cowboys going to Santa Clara to play the undefeated San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco 49ers have not lost a game yet, and I don't think it'll start on Sunday night. They have played incredible, and despite Dallas's record, I still just can't put full faith in them. Losing to the Cardinals and bouncing back with an incredible Patriots win, but that is not who the 49ers are. There's just so much you have to contain in this offense. George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel coming back on top of their Pro Bowl defense, a Pro Bowl offense. Having that quarterback who can move the chains is exactly what was needed, and that's why I think they'll win on Sunday night. I've got the San Francisco 49ers winning at a score of 31-24. In our last matchup, Monday Night Football, we have the Green Bay Packers playing the Las Vegas Raiders. And Davante Adams against his home team game, that's really all the interesting points we can have for this matchup. The Green Bay Packers, 2-2, got destroyed by the Detroit Lions. Even still, I have the Green Bay Packers being a good team here on out, and I think that definitely can start by beating the Las Vegas Raiders, who have also really just, I mean, they've been pretty much everything most people have expected them to be, 1-3, not really showing anything great. I mean, Josh Jacobs not being good kind of, I guess, shocks a lot of people. Fantasy owners, but I'll get the Green Bay Packers winning this one. Expect another Jordan Love masterclass. I'm going to predict it right now: 5 touchdowns by Jordan Love. And let me guess, we'll find out that he's like out at a healthy scratch. No, the Green Bay Packers are winning this one, 27-20. Why the hell not? Make it a close game. Why not? 27-20. The Green Bay Packers. And that's going to do it for this edition of the Deep in Sports Thought podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below everything you enjoyed, everything you disagree with. You know the whole drill. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, of course here at Deep in Sports Thought on pretty much all of those. And that's about all I've got to say. So I'm Chase Caridi, and this has been the Deep in Sports Thought podcast.